an accessible home to me feels like I don't have to park in one spot. If you can imagine, I'm sure you've had this experience where you've been to a house party and moving around a space is limited. Options for roaming around a home that's not well set up for someone that uses a wheelchair can bring up feelings of like claustrophobia. So current building code requires 15% of units in a multi-unit building to be, air quotes, barrier free. So what barrier free means would not meet your needs or my needs for, accessing the bathroom, for example. So having a stepless entry into shower space is not part of what the Ontario Building Code deems barrier-free.
And it's not even mandated for the balcony to be step-free, right?
It's not, no. So a barrier-free unit will not have a step-free balcony access. I've never been on my balcony before. So to be able to access a balcony space in a condo is liberating. Yeah, we really need to go above and beyond what the building code asks, because it's sub minimal. It's not even, to me, minimal. It's sub minimal.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you got involved in Stopgap and the Accessibility Coalition?
Yeah, well, Stopgap, I think my journey with the organization began when I sustained my spinal cord injury back in 2002. And the way that I like to describe that event is I was all of a sudden introduced to a world that's really not well suited for someone that uses a mobility aid. So over time, I think I became more and more frustrated with not being able to access space. And over time, I realized that I was having conversations and recognizing similarities in the frustration among different groups of people pushing strollers, the elderly, people by occupation, couriers bringing packages via carts into spaces. All of these different groups of people were also experiencing challenges, not being able to access space easily. So I wanted to move that energy from a frustrated place into a place of action.
Yeah, closing the gap between accessibility and the need is great, and Stopgap does a good job of doing that. Can you tell me a little bit more about your work with the Disability Coalition?
Yeah, the Accelerating Accessibility Coalition was first formed in 2022 with an intention to raise awareness and provide education around the need for more accessible housing. There's a huge shortage of housing that's not only affordable, but is accessible as well. And we really want to bring developers into a discussion where they become more aware about the lived experience of people with disabilities and really start a collective understanding of the different sectors, the community organizations that are out there that support people with disabilities, and the developers that build housing all across the GTA. And ultimately beyond. We want to extend our work to neighborhoods and communities all over the country.
What challenges have you faced so far?
Yeah, there's three things that we've discovered in our work so far. There's really a lack of understanding about the lived experiences of people with disabilities amongst this development sector. There's also a lot of voluntary standards that exist out there that provide direction that goes above and beyond building code. That's great. However, as a designer, we're finding that it's challenging navigating those different voluntary standards, like what specifications to choose from a list of different options. And we're also getting a better understanding of the myths and misconceptions out there amongst the development sector. There's this myth that building accessibility into a project is more expensive. That's true if there's a retrofit happening or there's renovations to an existing space. Yeah, there's extra costs for sure. But building in accessibility from the beginning, in the design phase, does not amount to any extra costs, negligible. There was a recent study in the US that brought up this number. 95% of spaces are not, residential spaces are not accessible for people with physical disabilities. And I think that is a number that mirrors our experience here. Whether it be a stepped entryway at a retail space in a neighborhood or a stepped entryway at a home, that sends a message to me that says I don't belong. And it comes with a feeling of frustration and anger, confusion, embarrassment. All of these feelings result from an interaction with a built form that says I don't belong. The opposite of that is being able to access a space on my own terms with independence and spontaneity and a feeling of safety and comfort and having my needs met. And there's a term actually that describes that feeling. It's called access intimacy. And I love that we have a term that we can use to help describe what it feels like to be in a space that meets our needs. We've got, I think, 1.5 million new homes on the slate to be built rapidly. So there's this tension for building homes quickly and making sure that the people involved in getting those homes built will do so with accessibility in mind. And as you know, it's hard work to raise awareness and bring a collective understanding about the importance of accessibility to a place where developers start to move away from the standard ways that they've been building homes for years and years and years. So we're gonna find ourselves with this tension between needing to build homes quickly and needing to change the way that we're thinking about how homes are built. And that's what drives me to do the work that I do. My hope for accessible housing in the future is that I can access homes as I please, or as I'm invited to other people's homes. I'm able to access those homes in a way that I feel supported and safe and comfortable, and I can do so on my own terms. That's the vision that I hold. It's a long game in order to get there, but I certainly want to affect change with the new homes that are going to be built all over our country in the next 10 years to help alleviate our housing crisis, to make sure that we're adding accessible housing to the housing stock that's going to be created over the next decade.